This is lesson 5-7 from the Algebra Readiness textbook. For today's lesson, you'll need your notes packet and a sharpened pencil. Please work the study guide video while the study guide problems while the video is on pause. Then come on back to compare your answers to mine. For the first one, I see that I need to have a common denominator. My common denominator is 66. To get that common denominator for both fractions, I multiply the first fraction by 6/6 and the first fraction by 11/11 and the second fraction by 6/6. Then I subtract the numerators and I get 43/66. With the second problem, my common denominator is 6. So I get 6 3/6 for my first fraction. I like to write my subtraction problems in a stacked formation. Now I need to take 3/6 minus 4/6. I can't do that though, because I only have 3/6. So do not call that 1/6. That's a very common mistake. You're going to have to borrow. I borrowed 1 whole. 1 whole I can rename as 6/6. So I'm going to move that 1 whole into the fraction portion. So do you see that 3/6 plus 6/6 is actually 9/6. So 9/6 minus 4/6 is 5/6. 5 minus 3 is 2 5/6. Today's learning target is to solve one-step equations that involve fractions. You solve one-step equations by undoing whatever is happening to my variable. In the first one, we're going to do the same steps that we've always done. Start by drawing a line down your equal sign. To isolate my variable n, I need to get rid of a positive 1/4. I make that equal 0 or go away by subtracting 1/4 from both sides. That equals 0. What's remaining on the left is an n. 1/3 minus 1/4 I can't do without finding a common denominator. So let's rewrite these with a common denominator of 12. How can I create an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 12? I need to multiply by 4/4. And I need to multiply the bottom fraction by 3/3, and I get 3/12. 4/12 minus 3/12 gives me 1/12. N equals 1/12. The same thing is true if I have a subtraction problem, n minus 3/4. I simply add 3/4 to both sides to isolate my variable n. Now, n is all by itself on the left side of the equal sign. Notice on the right that I have, I want to take negative 5/8 plus 3/4, so I need a common denominator. Negative 5/8 will stay the same. 3/4 will become 6/8 because I will multiply the numerator and the denominator by 2/2. Now, I have a negative fraction plus a positive fraction, which means I need to subtract and give the sign of the bigger fraction. I see that 6/8 is positive, so my answer will be positive. When I subtract, I actually have to switch those around, don't I? 6/8 minus 5/8 is 1/8. Positive 1/8. Now I would like you to pause the video and try these 3 problems. Then come on back to compare what you got to what I got. All right, for the first one, I subtract 8/9 from both sides. Immediately I see that they have a common denominator, and I need to take 5/9 minus 8/9. Well, 5/9 minus 8/9 is the same as 5 plus negative 8/9. So I subtract the two numbers and I get 3/9. but I know it's negative because 8/9 has the bigger absolute value. Now I need to reduce this fraction, and I get y equals negative 1/3. The next problem, u plus 3/5. So I'm going to subtract 3/5 from both sides of the equation. I have u isolated by itself on the right-hand side. On the left, I'm trying to subtract two fractions, but they don't have a common denominator. I'm going to rewrite the fractions with a common denominator of 15. 5 times 2 is 10, and 2 times 3 is 6. So 10/15 minus 6/15 is 4/15. That is a simplified fraction, so that is my answer. The next problem. I need to subtract 3/10 from both sides. C equals, now 10 and 15 are not the same denominator. They have common factors, so I can't just multiply them together. So let's see, the common denominator is 30. I don't quite have enough room on my screen. Let's see what I can do here. Oops. I'm trying to scooch this for you guys without making a huge mess. All right, here we go. All right, so now I'm going to call this fraction 22/30ths, and this one 9/30ths. Then when I subtract 22 minus 9, I get 13/30ths. All right, here we go. The next two. Pause the video and try these two. Come on back to compare your answers to mine. Following the same rules, I find the side with the variable, which is here. It's adding 1 1/3. To make it go away, I subtract 1 1/3. And I'm left with z equals. Now, 18 and 3 are not the same denominator, and I'm asked to subtract. So I need to rewrite this. Let's do it down here. 3 and 7/18, and then I'm going to multiply 1 1/3 by 6/6 and get 1 and 6/18. 7 minus 6 is 1/18. 3 minus 1 is 2. So 2 and 1/18 is my answer. In this side, I find my variable here on the right. To get this to equal 0, this minus 2/7, I'm going to add 2/7 to both sides. I love it when they already have a common denominator because it gives me 8/7. Please remember not to leave your fraction in improper form. How many times does 7 go into 8? 1 time, and 1/7 is remaining. All right, what if we have a word problem? Henry cut 1 3/8 yards from a piece of wood. Afterwards, the piece of wood was 2 1/4 yards long. The equation P minus 1 3/8 equals 2 1/4 models the situation. How long is the piece of wood before Henry cut it? So really all they're asking you to do is to solve that equation. Let's read the problem one more time to make sure we understand the problem. Henry cut 1 3/8 yards from a piece of wood. Afterwards, the piece of wood was 2 1/4 yards long, the remaining. The equation P minus 1 3/8 equals 2 1/4 models the situation. How long was the piece of wood before Henry cut it? So what do you think the P stands for? I think that's the original length of wood before anything was cut. Then he cut off 1 3/8 and was left with 2 1/4. When we solve p minus 1 3/8 equals 2 1/4, we can find out the original length. Let's add 1 3/8 to both sides of the equation. I see that I need a common denominator, so I'm going to multiply 1/4 by 2 halves. So 2 2/8 and 1 3/8, or 1 3/8. When I add that together, I get 3 5/8. And how long? Yards. Make sure you always label any word problems. All right, try these last two, and then by pausing the video, come on back and compare those answers to mine. The first thing I did was subtract 9/10 from both sides. Then I come up with a common denominator of 5/10 minus 9/10. Now I hope that you see that I'm subtracting a bigger number from a smaller. So this is the same as adding -9. What's the rule if you have a positive number adding a negative number? Well, you subtract. So we're going to flip the order around and subtract these two. And I get 4/10. Then I give the answer the sign of the bigger number. Well, first let's reduce this also. And I get 2/5, really. So 2/5 is my answer, but which one has the bigger absolute value? 5/10 or -9/10? Well, -9/10 does, and -9/10 is negative. So you should get x equals -2/5. So make sure you're using those integer rules that you learned from chapter 1. Again, I'm going to subtract 4 1/5 from both sides to isolate my variable x. I need a common denominator, so I'm going to rewrite this as 5 5/10, and I'm going to rewrite the second fraction as 4 2/10. Then I will subtract. 5 minus 2 is 3/10. 5 minus 4 is 1. My answer is x equals 1 3/10. All right, I think you're ready to give the homework a try. It is on page 260.